Hello and welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. In just a few moments, I'm going to be taking this 99-cent store tray and turning it into a mold for ceramics. To check out my intro for the New England Sunporch and to see other videos I have made so far, please check out the playlist under my channel. I really was attracted to this tray when I picked it up at the 99-cent store, but of course it's chintzy and cheap, it's plastic. The texture is on the inside of the piece. Now, to make a mold of this, the very easy way would be to flip this over and then pour my plaster on it, and I have a mold. The issue is that if I were to do that with this piece of plastic, all of that wonderful little designs on the inside, I'm going to lose. I first have to make a pattern. To do that, I'm going to be using some alginate. Alginate is a really cheap way to make a pattern. The downfall is that will dry out on you, so you have to be working pretty fast. I'm gonna have to make sure I get the entire mold done in one shot today. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is packing up this piece and preparing it. And I have a bag of white clay scraps. I tend to generate a bunch of scraps, so I just pile them into a bag and I save them for projects like this. Now this clay is going to come in contact with both alginate and plaster. So once I use it for this, I will no longer be using it in a kiln. I don't want any of those chemicals to mess with the formula of the clay. Plaster can sometimes make your ceramic pieces explode, and I've never personally put alginate in kiln. I'm sure it would do something funky as well. So I'll be blocking on and giving myself an inch or two all around the border, kind of like a platform for my alginate to sit on and rest on, which will give me a nice clean surface when it comes time to doing the reverse mold for the plaster. All right, almost there. I do have a little bit of rough edges. I have these pieces of melamine, stuff that they sell for shelving. These two pieces I did not put edger on, and what that is I just cut an extra strip. And what I'm gonna do is just screw that to the end. And because of this coating, it's going to be perfect for not sticking to any of the plaster or for the alginate. And I'm going to be putting them up and around this piece and then sealing a nice seal to make sure it's watertight so I can go ahead and pour my alginate in. Once the alginate set, I started to demold, and here's where all hell broke loose. Of course, I took on a way too large size than I should have, and my alginate was all broken up into pieces. But I decided to go ahead and complete the process of pouring the plaster on top of it just to see what would happen. Apparently, when I made this, I had a total brain fart, and I have no idea what I was thinking. Here's the problem right now. If I go and cast this, all of this wonderful pattern and texture that I was trying to retain will then be on the bottom of this platter. So this is a serving platter. Who's going to be looking at the bottom of the serving platters? This is meant to be a very small type of meal. This platter is way too big for something to go on that table. What I am going to do is make a set of completely different platters, and I think I'm going to do those out of wood, so that'll be another video coming up. I am still going to make a pour mold that will be functioning, but I'm going to switch it up. This is just a plastic plate because I've realized that I don't have any plates for this environment and I'm serving food with no plates. I'm going to go to work doing almost exactly the same thing I did. These molds are going to need to set up for at least, 3 weeks or so to get all of the water expelled from them in order for them to absorb the wet slip. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. What are you doing? Okay, I took apart my mold. A lot of people, when they make molds, they think you have to get it right in the first shot. If you don't, you're gonna end up with a wonky mold. I have learned that this pottery plaster is really soft, especially if you catch it at the right point and it's still kind of damp. You can go in and do a lot of fixing with your tools. I used a combination of my box cutter, my fettling knives. I keep a sharp one around for jobs like this. For the final bit of it, I just took my loop tool. I went around and made sure that my lip was a nice lip. As I was carving away, I didn't want to really smush my plaster back in, so I took a chip brush to go in and dust off any of the excess plaster. This mold is ready to go. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Over the next couple of weeks, I will be taking this mold and put it up on 2 sticks so that it can aerate at the bottom out in the sun. And I will bring it in the evening because I don't want it to stay out. We have a layer of like dew here overnight that happens, and any of that excess moisture I don't want to go back into my plaster. So it's gonna be a waiting game, and I don't know how long this is gonna take. Sometimes it can take a couple months to get the plaster to dry out. I'm really hoping that's not the case because I don't have a couple months. I'm gonna leave this video here. This will be part 1 of the plates and the failed platter, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already, and stick around to see part 2 and the rest of this room coming together.